Come on, cat. Fuck you, cat. I am fully prepared to alienate and irritate a lot of people because I just watched The Killing, 1956 noir directed by Stanley Kubrick. I just watched it, and not as good as I remembered it being. For some reason, I remember it being spectacular, which isn't to say that it was a poor film. It's a good film, but that's it. It's a good film. People like to give it a lot of credit with inversing genre tropes and with some of its long tracking shots, and some of them are gorgeous. You know what? A lot of them are also pretty amateurish at the same time. Uh, I've even seen this film appear on lists of the best film noirs ever in the history of cinema. I mean, this doesn't hold a candle to like Night in the City or Sweet Smell of Success or Gilda. It doesn't hold a candle to the majority of Jules Dassin's work. It doesn't compete at all. And when I see this title appearing on lists like that, it kind of just advertises a bias or a penchant for loving and admiring Kubrick than it does kind of like add legitimacy to the list itself. In my opinion, The Killing is a good movie, and it's a slightly above average noir. Uh, it's deeply ironic, it's deeply cynical. Some of the cinematography is quite excellent, is quite remarkable to see, but a lot of it is also quite, for Kubrick, startlingly ineffective. It's been a long time since I've watched most of Kubrick's catalog. I've watched, in the last 10 years, I've probably only seen A Clockwork Orange and now The Killing. It's been a long time since I revisited his larger body of work. People like to split up his career by going pre-2001 and post-2001. In fact, not people, I'd like to do that because there is a huge demarcation, there's a huge kind of shift, an artistic progression that happens 2001 and on, as opposed to his earlier works like Lolita, Strangelove, and The Killing or Killer's Kiss. It's a big difference, right? But I'm also afraid if I watch some of these Kubrick films that some of them won't hold up because there was no doubt in my mind The Killing's going to be great, Killing's going to be excellent. The Killing left me unimpressed at the end of the day. Really unimpressed. This film wasn't directed by Stanley Kubrick. It it wouldn't get talked about too much. Not much more than like someone like Aldrich's like Kiss Me Deadly. It it would just be talked about as another mildly interesting noir picture. But yet Kubrick's name is attached to it, so we have to talk about it with the language of auteurism, of auteur theory. And it's there, but God, is it so primitive? The stuff we've learned to love about Kubrick. Some of it is in The Killing, but it's a very primitive version, and it's such a primitive version of it that it doesn't really feel Kubrickian at all. I mean, it's deeply ironic, and it is deeply cynical, and those are at least characteristic trademarks of the ethos that his films kind of conform to. But at the end of the day, it's really just nothing special. Uh, it's a fun kind of everything can possibly go wrong kind of film. I refuse to overanalyze this film because a lot of people like to do that with Kubrick. I'd like to do that with Kubrick, but I'm going to try not to do that with Kubrick. People like to do that with The Killing. And if you ever see someone overanalyzing The Killing, or Killer's Kiss for that matter, tell them to their face that they are completely full of shit. The only bit of over analyses of this film that I do appreciate is one that kind of looks at it metacontextually, where they go, this is kind of Kubrick rebelling against or at least recognizing in visual and thematic recognition of the genre tropes, the limitations of the genre by tropes, and kind of is a self-defeating film because the characters in it are defeated by the tropes of its genre. And I mean, Joe Thompson, the one who worked on the screenplay here, wonderful author, wonderful writer. Read The Killer Inside Me because it's excellent. Perhaps he was thinking about that. I highly doubt it, though. Uh, that's a very interesting take on the film, but I don't think it was a deliberate take. And I think that Stanley Kubrick is a very deliberate filmmaker, probably one of the most deliberate filmmakers ever. Uh, a, a filmmaker who makes films that are of static being and not of dynamic becoming. Like, there is a true goal here, and that the true goal of The Killing, I think, was, I mean, as unremarkable as it sounds, to simply tell an interesting, a mildly interesting, but mostly just engaging, kind of ironic noir. Nothing much more than that. You can talk about absurdism and Pagliacci the Clown to me all day long. Those concepts, while they are definitely there, it's debatable how how much substance those concepts carry into the film itself, because the film itself, no, I refuse to talk about it with Kubrickian language, because it has a lot more in common with something like The Sweet Smell of Success, or The Killers, than it does any Kubrick film, really, really. And it's kind of against the law to speak disparagingly or critically of Kubrick at all within every cinephile community. And trust me, I understand. I thought Kubrick was an untouchable. And now I'm afraid to go back and watch Eyes Wide Shut. I'm afraid to go back and watch Full Metal Jacket, because maybe I've outgrown the homeboy. I don't know, but this was an exciting film. But I remember watching it and going, "Oh God, I really won't have much to dive into." That's why this isn't called an analysis, because I feel that if you analyze this film, then you are treating film criticism dishonestly. If you're going to analyze this film, you should really analyze it on the merits of crime. And the film doesn't speak to the large limitations of tropes. I think that is an accidental truth. I think that Kubrick is far more interested in just showing a tragicomic irony, and violent irony. I think that's all he's really devoted to realizing and expressing to his audience. I'm not going to analyze the film noir genre, because I don't feel that this film requests that of me or demands it from an analysis. I don't think that this film really deserves an analysis. It's good. It's a good movie, but there's really not a lot to it. Is it inspirational? Sure, but I would debate it would be a lot less inspirational if someone a lot less famous, revered, and worshipped than Stanley Kubrick's name were attached to the project. I think that his name really gives this film gravitas. It gives it some weird, antiquated form of art house authenticity or legitimacy, or warrants it for discussion among other film noir gems that are deconstructionist, that are a bit experimental, or at least a bit self-aware, possibly postmodern. The Killing doesn't stand up against those kinds of films at all. At all. You can tell it's a film that's early in Kubrick's career, but at the same time, I am very scared to watch 2001: A Space Odyssey again. I can tell you that right now.